Hello and welcome to Episode 8 of the 1953 Bowman Color Team Sets, where we take a look at the cards that comprise each team and see what they were up to in 1953. Today we're going to be taking a look at the 1953 Detroit Tigers, but we're going to do something a little different and focus on one player in particular who didn't even have a card in 53, as he was a mid-season call-up who would go on to have a Hall of Fame career. But first, let's take a look at the cards themselves. Okay, so first up we have Art Houtman, who, like a lot of the pitchers for the Tigers this year, didn't do so great. He had a 9-13 record with a 4.61 ERA. Here's Joe Ginsberg. He had a 290 average in 53 with 13 RBIs. On the plus side, he did catch one of Virgil Truck's 2 no-hitters. Here's a great card, Walt Drapo, nicknamed the Moose. He was one of the big contributors this season for the Tigers. He had 96 RBI with a 248 average. Here's Ned Garver. Love this card. Great pose. He was 11-11 with a 4.45 ERA. Another struggling pitcher for the Tigers. He did have 13 complete games. Here's Ted Gray, yet another struggling pitcher, 10-15 with a 4.60 ERA. Hard to find good news in 1953 for the Detroit Tigers. And here's Steve Suchuk. His nickname was Bud. He had 46 RBI with a 302 average. So he was definitely getting on base. Great pose, Yankee Stadium in the background. This is probably my favorite Tigers card from this set, Bill White. It's hard to explain, but if you ever see this card in person, it's just a really beautiful, vibrant card. The blues and the orange of the Tigers logo, just all of it comes together really nicely. Now here's Fred Hatfield. This card looks really similar to the Johnny Pesky card, which is coming up here in a second. Love these ground ball photographs. Now we have the manager of the Detroit Tigers. He's the guy that had to deal with the tough season that these guys had, Fred Hutchinson, who, whenever I see this card, reminds me of Humphrey Bogart. And last but not least, we've got Johnny Pesky, who is at this point nearing the end of his career, and of course was better known for his time with the Boston Red Sox. This is one of the very first cards that I got when I started collecting this set. And so there you have it, the complete 1953 Bowman Color team set of the Detroit Tigers. So as you could probably guess, the Tigers didn't really have a season that is really worth going over in detail in 1953. And if you saw the episode featuring the Boston Red Sox, you'll know what I'm talking about. Instead, we're going to focus on the ray of hope that popped up in 53 in the form of young Al Kaline. In 1953, Kaline joined the Detroit Tigers as a skinny 18-year-old from off the Baltimore sandlots. He'd grown up across the street from a factory where pickup games were a regular lunch hour feature. Kaline would wait under the nearby trees to see if teams were a man short and then run over to join the game. Aside from pickup games, Kaline was often in 2 to 3 leagues each summer, including the American Legion League, where one season he batted .609. By the time he was 16, Al was drawing attention from big league scouts. When he was still 18 years old and just one day after he had graduated from high school, Kaline was signed to a major league contract by scout Ed Catalinas. Catalina arrived at the Kaline family home and spoke with Kaline's parents. Al was preparing for the high school prom at the time and came down to the dining room table to sign the deal, which called for a $15,000 bonus and a $15,000 salary in his first season. Kaline bypassed the minor league system and joined the Tigers directly from high school as an 18-year-old bonus baby signee. These bonus babies were hard pills to swallow for other players, since it meant that the guy could just shoot through the system, and, as the players felt, hadn't really earned his way. But Kaline went right to work at earning his spot on the team. He made his major league debut on June 25, 1953 in Philadelphia as a late-inning replacement for outfielder Jim Delsing. In his rookie season, Kaline was introduced to Ted Williams by manager Fred Hutchinson. Williams and Kaline had a lengthy conversation, including tips on hitting the low fastball. Williams also suggested that the scrawny Kaline work on adding some muscle to his upper body and that he squeeze a rubber ball in his hands to improve his grip strength. During the 1953 off-season, Steve Suchuk was injured while playing ball in Cuba. This created an opening in the Detroit outfield, and Kaline was given the starting job in spring training in 1954. All in all, his first season was only average, but true to his ability, 2 years later, he would bat .340 to become the youngest batting champion ever at age 20. This, of course, was all just the beginning of a Hall of Fame career that would unfold in the city of Detroit. So that about does it for this episode of the Bowman Color Team Sets. Hope you guys enjoyed taking a look at these cards from the Detroit Tigers and especially having a closer look at the beginnings of Al Kaline's Hall of Fame career. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and for all the comments and conversations that get started from these team set videos. I'll get started on the next episode, and until then, I'll see you guys around YouTube.